Hey, welcome back to another episode from Life for Living Well. My name is Richard, and I will be your anchor for this episode for this week. The topic I brought to you this week is what I call Diligent Your Art. This particular topic ring a bell to me particularly, and I feel so strong about making it as a podcast, and also wrote an article about it, which is published this week on Life for Living Well website. And if you want to know much about the articles and books that are published on Life for Living Well, you can check it out at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. So let's dive into it now. So the topic is what I call diligent your art. According to Benjamin Franklin, he once said, and I quote, diligent is the mother of good luck. We all appreciate people when they exercise a diligent in particular field that they're choosing, whether in science, whether in engineering, whether in art or sports. It's always captured the greatest or one of the great quality of being a human beings that is exhibit excellent, and as a result of their diligence in whatever field they have chosen, we appreciate it. So no wonder many people don't mind to pay a certain amount of money to go and watch their favorite sportsmen and women. But the degree of diligence that they display in their chosen field is also in touch with our own feelings, and most especially above all is the excellence that are valuable to womankind. But today, particularly for this podcast, I'm more focused on how do we diligent our heart. According to Benjamin Franklin, he said, once you develop a diligence, you also have an access to mother of good luck, because it's the same. Benjamin Franklin said, the more hard work I work, the more harder I work, the more luck that I created. And diligence doesn't just come one, it's exhibiting in consistency. But for this particular podcast, I wanted to first show us how we can diligent our art and why we should diligent our art. Because you might be wondering, what is he trying to tell me? Why do I need to diligent my art? Can your heart really be diligent? One of the greatest kings in the scripture, King Solomon, in the book of Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23, once said, above all else, guard your heart, for it is where springs of life. A heart that is stupid or foolish will attract more sorrow and suffering into his life. In fact, your knowledge and your intelligence will not be enough to protect you if you fail to diligent your heart. But how do you do that, and why you should do it? And this is what this podcast we're trying to explore. And if you really want to read more into details on particular this podcast, you will find the article on our website, which is going to be published this week at the same time. So the question is, How do you know a madman? Someone that has lost his mind, you will think. But how do you know someone that is diligent is art already? How do you know someone that have not diligent their heart? You will also know all these two things through the their life, where they are in their life, what they want to make happen in their life. So it is important to learn and work toward diligent our heart. So it is not your possessions, not your possessions that you have or acquire, or your friendship or knowledge that will see you through your dreams and aspirations, but your heart. You'll be surprised that despite the fact that you acquire so many things, if you fail to diligent your heart, you will find yourself in a very peculiar place. You might even lose all those things that you are define yourself with. It's not surprising why some people can lose everything, but they can rebuild and recreate the same thing 10 times, 100 times of what they lost. Is their hearts. Is the level of diligence they have created into their heart, and they protect it like you protect, like someone that knows the value of diamond. I've come to realize that people are in different stages in their life. Something that other people, their eyes are open to, and they value their spiritual life a lot. Others have not actually awakened to it yet, and you have to deal with each of these others. You have to deal with people that are waking, and you have to deal with people that are still sleeping. But they don't know that they're still sleeping, and even if you're awake, you can still sleep. Someone once said that after he experiences awakeness, he's still doing the same thing he was doing before he awoke. So your job is already cut out the moment you arrived into this world, due to the unfortunate environment you may have been raised in. People that have parents that have whatever addictions in their life, alcohol or drugs, society also expect them to be function with the children that the parents are very tuning to growth and personal development, and they also raise those child the same way. And although this child grow up, become adult, and become functional member of society, higher percentage of children that are being unfortunate in this background tend to carry so many body pains. And unless you heal this traumatic experience, it tends to come out in a different way. I actually think like not always affecting men and women the same way. It just shows itself in a different way. But at the end, once you been damaged just on environment you raised or how you brought up, it is also important to recognize this and do what you have to do to heal yourself, whether you seek therapy or you seek self-helping or self-soothing. You have that responsibility to take care of yourself. So look around. Many adults still remain immature, regardless of their age. I've seen people in their 80s still behaving like a 4-year-old toddler. I've seen young men in their 36 still have unnecessary entitlement to their family resources. I've seen it at other places as well, whether places of work, in family, in relationship. If you just pay attention, you will see how this immaturity play out. They are physically grown up, but emotionally, they are stuck in child way of relating. So, what did I mean by this? How do you know when you actually meet these people? One of the few characteristics that separate these people compared to fully functional 80 adults is they display high level of self-absorptions. They think most of the time about themselves, and they also want you to think about them. They do everything to get attention, even if it means to halt your relationship with them. And selfishness, it has no boundary. The double standard in their apply of justice and rules. Excessive anger. They not just get angry, they get easily frustrated because they can have their way. And in order to force their way, their anger can be in your face or it can be very passive. They become easily cold toward you. So they also seem to lack conflict resolution, and sometimes they can be very, very aggressive in their approach to you. And there's so many more I can mention through this podcast. They continue to create perpetual drama in their relationships. I feel being told or met someone that is always somebody else's fault. Whatever relationship they find themselves, there's always a conflict and it's always someone's fault. So I feel consider the friends or group you share your time with. Most people unconsciously make friends, unconsciously sharing their time, spending their time with so many different people without really reflect on contribution, influence. Each of these people they spend their time with contributed to their life. One of Lionel Richie's sons come to my mind, and he said, "Everybody wants me to be what they want me to be. I'm not happy, want to fake it." So his parents wanted to be somebody else. His friend wanted to be somebody else. His sibling wanted to be somebody else. Society wanted to be somebody else. So my question to you is, what do you want to be? So it is an empirical evidence that the group of friends will shape you one way or the other. So the idea of elaborate this way is to show you many ways our heart struggling in a way to develop a diligence to it. So when you develop diligence, you begin to exercise wisdom, how you spend your time, how you use your resources, who do you share with, and degree of time to get to know yourself. So what about society? That we don't talk much about it. Society also influences us. What you see on the TV, what is acceptable in your school, and everybody just becoming like a sheep. You see the packs of animals, like a cow, and everyone just follow. Have you ever thought, why do you have to go to job? Why do you have to leave your house in the morning? Do you just go to work because everybody go to work? Or you go to work because you have to eat? It could be one of the reasons. Or you're actually working because of what you wanted to create, make, or become. So you have to define what driven you, what's the purpose of you getting up in the morning and leave your house and go to work. So the only way you're able to arrive to all this, so many questions that are popping up in life, is to diligence your heart. Your understanding, your possessions of things, your network. These are very fickle things that are very small, but the most important thing is your heart. And if you are not diligent your heart, there's so many battles, so many attacks from so many different places that attacking and try to get influence on your heart. And once you lose the control of your heart and you fill it with a lot of erroneous beliefs, erroneous information, you're bound to make a lot of judgment based on force. And we know it is self-evidence that anything that is not true cannot hold water. There's a three thing the Buddha said that you cannot hide. You cannot hide the sun. You cannot hide the moon. If you are telling a child in the afternoon, in the daylight, that this moon is no longer exists, is gone for good, and suddenly the night comes and the child look up and the moon appear, because you cannot hide it. It's a self-evidence, it's truth. If it's in the night and the child asks you where is the sun, and you try to play pocket lie on that child, and you say the sun is no longer exist and the sun is gone and we never have a sun again, and the morning comes, the daylight comes and the sun arises, you cannot hide it. It's also a self-evidence. And lastly, the truth. What is truth will reveal itself in a point in time. A lie can travel thousands of times, but only one day the truth will catch up with it. So when you diligence your heart, you already harm yourself in so many areas that your heart will be pondering with so many players that will come. The moment you arrive to this world, your chances are already cut off. Your parents are already praying for you, what kind of friend you should have, how safe you should be. So if you are the kind of person that one day you want to go and clap in the mountain, or you want to be hiking, and your parents have been praying that you should never take any risk in life, you never know why you never do it. But they didn't do it out of bad intentions. They do it from out of erroneous belief and limited belief that the only way they can protect you is you never leave their space. Is you do everything perfect. But your growth and your evolve as individual is to live in singularity of life. There's a plurality out there. There's a night, there's a day. There's a dark, there's a light. And you should be comfortable with this experience. So it becomes very unnetty with belief which is absent of a realistic expectation that no one we touch our heart. This is self-evidence when we attach our self-worth to external values such as having a family, house, car, status, money, relationship. What messages are they passing to you when all these things are mixing? So when these are not in your life, what message the societies are passing to you that you are not worthy of human being? This is why you have to diligence your heart. You are more than all these things. If you have all these things, thank goodness for them. And if you don't have it, it doesn't limit you as a person, as an individual that are coming to this world to make an impact in your chosen field. If you chose to do your career and you wake up in the morning to go to it with happy and confidence and you wanted to contribute to it, to the next generation, you already do a lot. You already give a lot of yourself back to the society, and you should be so proud of yourself without anyone limiting you based on the other thing that is not in your life. And in order for you to be strong, in order for you not to be shaken by the society unfounded truth or false information, it is important to diligence your heart. Don't forget TV and social media, where a barrage of misinformation is passed into our mind psychologically, and you also have to try to control minds through vicious messages. So, in the longer term, it creates many sources of problem people face in their life, either emotionally, psychologically, mentally, and to an extent, physical problems. You see, there's a research that shows that almost 70% of the physical illnesses, chronic one that the people suffer from, is purely come from their thought and their emotions, and that show itself on the physical body. So imagine so many negative thoughts that people play in their mind. So people think that only people that talk to themselves loud are crazy. There's so many silent crazy that are making terrible ads comment about themselves quietly, especially when they're alone. The question is, how do you protect your heart? King Solomon warned in his book of Proverbs 4:23, thousands of years ago. He said, be diligent with your hearts. It is your responsibility to be diligent with your heart. Without it, you will suffer greatly in this world. Let's say a few things or tools that are valuable to us today to protect your heart. So, how do you protect your heart? So, I'm going to leave you with a few suggestions. And if you try to embrace this, it will make such a difference in your life if you are not already doing it or using it. Number one, find time to embrace reading. It saddens me seeing people that can read but won't read. At the end, so they spend so much time just browsing through the pictures on their phone. They could spend 2 or 3 hours just doing that at the end of the day. And by the time they get to the bed, they're already tired. They have no time to open the book again. And they continue the same cycle again and again and again. They have no advantage in life to someone that cannot read. So number two, find a diary as an accomplice where you can be truly honest, write your thoughts and ideas down, and use it to reflect the plurality of your thoughts. Number 3, questioning. Things that you see, you hear, do not take it as face values. People are a low B want a shortcut. They want things easy, and they take less interest in things that they feel is hard work, and they avoid it, and they just want to be hopeful. It's like play lottery, hopeful that perhaps things might work out fine just because they feel that that's the way they would like it to be. And they forgot to read the small print. They saw a man with a cloth of a priest, and they think because he wears the clothes of a priest, he has to be a good person. He has to be the person that have their best interest. So they sign the biggest contract of their life. Few years ago, I once bought a car, and this is guy. He was very polite, was very charming, was very friendly. One of the things he told me is to say that my car doesn't need MOT, like a road clarification, that is safe to be on the road for that particular year, that is already done until the following year. So I took his word, which is my own fault, didn't check the document. And it's only 3 months later that I was stopped by the police and pound my car and told me that the car doesn't have the MOT, and if I have to pay a lot of money to clear everything, to collect the money back, to pay for the fine, and then put the car for the MOT and then get clearance for it. So what I'm trying to say is that don't just take things on the face value. All of us are guilty of these things. We should question things. We should not just accept things the way someone just said it. They might just offer you their opinion. They might have other agenda that you have no idea about it. But question it. Even this, listen to this podcast on this platform. Question it. Not just believe everything you hear or everything you read or everything you see. Question it. So number 4, work to develop your own values and ethics. In the end, you create visible and invisible background for yourself and your relationship with others. They are all self-evidence as a result of your character. So when your life is driven by values and ethics, people that you relating with, they will notice that, because you'll be so different with people that don't live their life based on values and ethics, people that live their life based on calculation and self-interest. The product, the result will be so different. If you don't plant anything on the ground doesn't need to offer you anything in return. It's the law of the nature. So lastly, some people will need to reparent themselves. In reality, all of us should do that, especially if they were raised by very mature adults. Without healing from the past, the inflicted damages will hold them back in life. So I hope this podcast helps someone. Lastly, to bring it to the end, as we go extra more this week, these are a few suggestions and tools you can use to be diligent in your art. You must protect it. It is your superpower, your diamond, your gold, your thoughts, others' thoughts, and opinion will seek to attack and to gain advantage over it. Do not allow it. And the future government, technology, economy, and information that you consume will challenge your heart, whether it's achieve the level of diligence that you need to protect you. I hope this podcast helps someone this week. If you'd like to know more about this particular podcast, you can check it out on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Until we meet again next week, have an amazing week and please stay safe. Ciao.